There's been so many conversations recently about Formula One and how bad it is right now.
Absolutely shocking experience.
And I can't really blame people because if you look at the current season, there's only been one team that's been winning all the fucking races so far. Wonder what team that is. Alright, but now good on Carlos actually for getting one for Ferrari. Congratulations. It's probably going to go back to Red Bull and Max Verstappen winning and dominating the rest of the season, but at least we had this one race, right? Well, what I mean is, there's a lot of constant complaints coming in from Formula One fans about the sport. And I think quite a lot of them are well-founded. I think Formula One can be a lot fairer, and more interesting, and more fun, and more equal, and more exciting, and more fun to watch, more fun to follow. Yeah. I mean, if you compare it to any other sport, this shit is as rigged as a fucking Russian election. No matter what anyone else does, the outcome is already fucking decided, man. So let me take like 5 minutes of your time to explain why that is. Okay? Give me a sec.
And yeah, we get a bit wet.
Slippery when wet.
Slippery when wet indeed.
Alright, the first point that I wanted to highlight is the fact that there's such a disparity in the financing that the big F1 teams have compared to the other ones. There's literally like the top dogs. The Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes have so much more fucking money than all the other teams combined. Like, honestly. Mercedes is one of the biggest fucking car manufacturers in the world. Ferrari is just one of the biggest brands out there. And they're also a car manufacturer. A race car manufacturer. And then we have a fucking energy drink company. Doesn't really fit into this whole F1 world, to be honest. But at least they have like a boatload of money to just spend on random things like a football club, skateboarding competition, sponsoring some guy to just jump out of a spaceship and plummet to Earth at light speed. Yeah. I guess you do make quite a lot of money selling a caffeinated and sugar-loaded drink to a bunch of wannabe sports junkies. How's it even fucking legal? Guess it's got like a nice logo at least. But because there's such a huge financing difference between these teams, it's really not fair. They can spend all that money on developing the best car, which in fucking F1 is essentially everything. And with the other half of the money, they just buy the best fucking racing drivers. So they've got the two major things there. What else can a smaller team do? But fucking nothing. Like, honestly, some of these smaller teams, all they can do is make sure they go to church every fucking Sunday to pray to God that their driver doesn't put the car into the fucking wall the first corner he takes. Otherwise, they might have to just start another fucking GoFundMe to rebuild the damn car. Like, honestly, this shit is dire, man. The amount of times that I've said honestly in the past 10 minutes, 3 minutes, is quite absurd. And I apologise. But what I'm not going to apologise for is the next 10 seconds in which I'm going to ask that you, without a shadow of a doubt, scroll down and click that subscribe button, man. I mean, you've enjoyed the video so far. Why just not do it? You know? Why not? Why don't you do it? You know? Yeah, it doesn't cost anything. I only see the upside. For me and you. Thank you. Cheers. Alright, secondly, on top of the fact that there's such a huge disparity between the top teams and the smaller teams, on top of that, the smaller teams are usually funded by the bigger teams. They literally get like parts, core parts like engines, sometimes even fucking drivers from the bigger teams. So essentially, alright, imagine this, is 10 teams competing, 3 of which are independent, the other 7 depend on the 3 big ones. That's the whole sport. So who do you think is gonna fucking win the fucking championship? One of the 7 or one of the 3? I think at this point, there's no point in the other ones competing. They should have their own league where they're giving the opportunity for the new kids to just bash around in the background while the grown-ups actually play on the track. It doesn't make any sense. They're just getting in the way. Spending so much money on the drivers and the cars and never, ever really competing for the championship. I honestly don't see any point in this. How does this work? Sounds like a rigged game. I definitely wouldn't want to compete in that. There's a spot at Red Bull though. Count me in. Probably will still end up with a faster lap than fucking Paris. Jesus. Last but not least, and I've mentioned this before, but the fucking owners of Formula One, it's not like some association. It's private owners. Somebody has the controlling shares of the company and has certain interests for the sport in mind. So if they really wanted to, they could be influencing a lot of things, the whole sport essentially, in order to maximize their fucking revenue. I don't want to be pointing any fingers, but when the owners changed, one of the F1 teams that have been dominating the sport for the past 8 years, suddenly it was not anymore. And there was another team to pick up the scraps and essentially take their place as the absolute dominant force for the past 2-3 years. Even worse than before, honestly. Again, just putting it out there, not accusing anyone of anything, even though I might want to. But you're a grown adult, right? I hope, at least, if you're watching my videos. Make your own f***ing conclusions. I'm just here to provide you with cold-hearted facts. I'm not, am I? I'm here to provide you with actual opinions of mine. Yes. I think I've mentioned the core 3 points that essentially highlight that compared to other sports, to I don't know, basketball, to football, anything else, Formula 1 really isn't that fucking fair. In fact, there's a lot of factors that have rigged the system into there only being a couple teams that could be participating in the championship. And it's not like these teams have higher odds of winning the championship. No, these are the only teams that can reach the championship. Yeah, maybe independent ones that every now and again just sort of emerge, like Aston Martin. But what kind of engine is Aston Martin fucking running? Exactly, Mercedes. And even between these 3 fucking teams, we all sort of have that feeling in the back of our minds that there's some invisible pressures that are influencing the sport. Someone decides when there's going to be a regulation change, and how that regulation change is really going to affect the teams, we don't know. But whoever is deciding it definitely knows. Alright? I'll leave it at that. I mean, I don't want to make you guys too depressed about the whole thing. I still am absolutely enjoying watching the Formula 1 season unfold, of course. It's like f***ing you just can't get rid of it. If you get it once in your system, and you become too deep into the whole thing, and no matter how unfair this shit actually is, it's just so much fun, Probably not the best metaphor to use. I might have to bleep it out so I don't incriminate myself or anything. That's it. I don't have anything else. Cheers.